Hey, Mr. Edwards back with some discussion about Recycling Day, which I read earlier. In this book, we learned about the kids cleaned up this lot that was full of trash, and the rats came, and the insects wanted the rats to leave, and then these kids came and cleaned up the lot. Also in this book, a chance we didn't have to read was these little pictures here that show how glass is recycled. So it shows here that glass is made from sand, soda ash, and limestone, which are all from the earth. They're like rock that they turn in that becomes very small. And they use these materials from the earth to make glass. And then we maybe buy a glass of water or glass of soda at the store, and we drink it, and we put it in the recycling. The recycling is picked up by a big truck and taken to a factory where it is, the used glass bottles are crushed and melted and molded into new ones. And then it goes back to being a glass again. And this, you see how this makes like an oval, this shape? So that piece of glass, or this sand and ash, soda ash and limestone that they use to make one bottle, can keep being used over and over again. So that's what recycling is, and that's glass. Here's the picture for paper recycling. Some of you might already know this, but paper comes from trees. Okay, they use the bark or the wood from the tree to make paper. So they take the trees to a factory, turn it into paper. It gets used, and when we're all done with it, instead of throwing away, we can recycle paper. Also, part of paper is cardboard. Cardboard also comes from trees, so cardboard could be in this picture too. We recycle it, gets taken away to the factory, it gets shredded up real small, and then it gets made into new paper. And then we don't have to cut down more trees. We can keep using the same paper if we recycle it. This next page shows metal recycling. Metal comes from rocks in the earth. So here's the rocks that they get from the earth. They take them to a factory and they're made into metal. This is a metal can. So this can gets used. Instead of throwing it in the trash to go in the landfill, the boy throws it in the recycling. It gets taken away to a factory. It gets shredded up, crushed and melted, and made into a new can, and around it goes. And the last thing we saw at the open lot was plastic. The kids were finding lots of plastic and recycling it. Plastic is made from oil and chlorine, which are things we can find in the earth. And we use these things to make plastic, lots of different plastics. So this girl had a plastic cup, maybe for some ice cream or a smoothie or a drink. She put it in the recycling. It got taken away back to a factory where they shredded it, melted it, and molded it into new plastic. So recycling makes everything kind of go in a circle because it gets used over and over again. It's a cycle. So we don't have to use more of what the earth has. Pretty cool. Now, I am gonna do my best art and draw some pictures to help us remember this. So up here I have the word glass. Can anyone remember what glass was made from? I have the book here so I can cheat. Glass is made from sand, soda ash, and limestone. So here's our 3 piles of things from the earth. We have sand, soda ash, and limestone, and they use them to make the glass bottle. And then the bottle gets used or drank. Let's see, maybe. And then after someone uses it, they're going to put it in the, where do we put it? In the recycling. And it gets taken away to a factory where they melt it and shred it, make it smaller. In the factory, there's my small glass. And then the factory can use that melted glass to form new bottles. And then they can be filled and taken back to the store. So here's our picture to remember how glass is recycled. Paper. The next one is paper. Do you remember where paper comes from? Paper comes from upside down drawing. Whoa, this is difficult. Paper comes from trees. So they go out in the forest, they cut down the trees, they take them to a factory, and they make paper. There's a paper. So we use the paper maybe at school, maybe at home, and instead of putting it in the trash, where should you put it? In the recycling. Let's put our little recycling bin. It's got our recycling triangle on it. Goes in the recycling, gets picked up and taken to a factory, recycling factory. And they shred it all up into little bits of paper, and they put it in a machine and make some new paper, and then they don't have to cut down more trees. There's my beautiful artwork of how glass and paper are recycled. Oh, don't worry, I'm not done yet. There was 2 other things we learned about. We learned about metal. Do you remember where metal comes from? Let's see if I can find the page. Aha! Metal comes from rock in the earth. Really hard rock. They take the rock out of the earth, and with that, they can make metal cans or aluminum. So the can is made, taken to a store. Maybe someone buys a soda, drinks it up, and where should they put it? Whoops, sorry, couldn't see that. In the recycling bin. Mr. Edwards' beautiful recycling bin. Then it's taken away to a factory where it is melted and smashed real small. And then they take all that crushed metal, melt it, and they can, with the hot metal, they can form it into new cans or new maybe metal bottles. Usually cans, though. They can make lots of metal things. And then we don't have to use any more rock. We can just keep going around and around in the cycle. All right, last thing. Plastic. Plastics. Lots of them. Made from oil and chlorine, which is something I learned. I didn't know that. These are things that are found in the earth. All right? Oil and chlorine. They mix them together, and with that, they can make plastic bottles. This is one of those Starbucks ones. Maybe mom or dad got a Frappuccino. What should mom or dad do with it when they're done? Should they throw it away in the garbage to go in the landfill? No, throw it in the recycling. Then it can be taken to a factory where it is melted into tiny little pieces and put in a machine and formed to make another bottle. And it goes over and over again. So here's what we learned about in our recycling story. Wow, beautiful artwork. You guys can make your own pictures if you want. There's mine. We learned about glass, paper, metal, and plastic, and they can all be recycled. All right. Hope you enjoyed the book and my beautiful art. Go out there and recycle. Bye.